Peeps, what's the deal? Today is the first video in a while. I just watched a video by my man BBC Bra Dammy. He was just made a video on how to improve your bench press dramatically. Good content, basically describing how to improve it by other means, assistance workup programs, whatever. But being a bit of a strength nerd, it's something that I want to throw my 2 cents on, as I've encountered a lot of difficulty with my bench in the past, but I've also seen it in the lifters I'm training with at the moment. So I'm just going to take you through a few clips here and basically show you how to stop poverty benching. Okay peeps, so in this video I'm primarily looking at how technique can affect the way you bench press. Obviously it does, but you can alter your technique to improve it. Obviously ignore the fact I'm chewing the jaw for myself here, and have a look at the grip. So the grip is neither too wide and it's not too narrow. It's just slightly outside my shoulder joint, and it's where it's comfortable for me. As you see, as I get set up here, I go to unrack the bar utilizing my lats. So watch this. Grand. Now slow it down here. Look at my hands. Look at where the bar is placed in my hands. When I tell people to bench, I always tell them to bench the bar in the meat of their hand, not on the upper part around your calluses, and not on the bottom part, in the meat. Very, very center. Very important. Now, you notice there, the grip is just right. I'm really trying to bend the bar with my hands. Now, here, have a look at my setup. So, I put my feet up on the bench because I've got horrible flexibility and mobility. Well, just horrible flexibility. So I put my feet up, push my shoulders in. You'll notice my shoulder joint is really, really retracted here, but still in a position where I can utilize it to create torque. So, bar in the meat of my hand, shoulders retracted, got my arch going, knees should be slightly below the hip joint. You notice I go to unrack here. I slightly lift my hips up off the bench when unracking the bar myself, but obviously you wouldn't need that if you have a spotter. Now, watch this. At the very bottom, watch the elbow joint. Elbow joint is in line with the wrist. This is the ideal position for benching, and I'm using my bicep as a cushion. So I'm not touching the bar it's not too far down on my chest, it's just right. It's just under the nipple, I'd say. So watch where I touch down, and watch how much I flare my elbows. They're not over tucked and they're not over flared, they're just in the middle. It's the most efficient way to bench, in my opinion. Another great cue for this is basically when you're descending the bar, meet the bar with your chest. And sometimes I keep my head up off the bench so I can watch the bar path and accentuate that cue. But here's a mistake that a lot of people make, especially bodybuilders: over flare. So their elbows are pointed way too far out, and you notice in the bottom here that the elbow joint is behind the wrist. And when you do this, it completely takes away your arch and the usefulness of that, and it puts your shoulders in an exposed position, leading to injuries. Now, here's some footage of a lifter that I lift with, and a friend of mine, Jack. So, one day we were benching, didn't really take too much notice, filmed one of his warm-up sets through the crack, and basically figured out what was going wrong here. So you notice, as he descends, touches way too far down on the chest, and the elbow goes past the wrist joint. Okay, so he's not using his bicep as a cushion, he's touching way too low. This plagues a lot of powerlifters bench. They think they're doing the right thing, and yet they leave themselves in a terrible position for pressing. So, elbow goes past the wrist and touching too far down on the chest is a common mistake to make. This is the next set. It's a bit heavier. This is after I told him you might need to change some things. So what I told him to do: widen his grip slightly and meet the bar with his chest. So he's raised his arch a bit more and he's flared out his elbows just a small bit more. So now you can see his elbows are in line with his wrists. And that is the art of changing a small nuance And that's my video on basically how to stop poverty benching, folks. Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.